How about now? Damien, how about now? Like, is audio working now? Hello? How about now? Okay, looks like audio is working right now. At least it's working for me. Please let me know if you can hear me. So, I'm still learning OBS. So, I guess I will just go ahead and rewind what I was talking about since the audio wasn't working. So, in this live stream, I will be talking about recruiters and how to network with the recruiters. Um, what I was trying to say before, that there are different recruiters. So we have agency recruiters and we have corporate recruiters. So agency recruiters, for example, if you are in the United States, there are big agencies like Kforce, Tech Systems, and others like ProKarma. I worked before with ProKarma a couple of times, and I like them. Um, so, and they're corporate recruiters. Like when a recruiter is trying to reach out to you from a company, so that recruiter works for that company directly, and they work with the hiring team and the hiring managers directly. With when it comes to a corporate or with the agency recruiter, it's a little bit different, and they might be different people involved in the chain, how you get to the hiring managers. And again, I'm not a recruiter, so if you are a recruiter and if I'm saying something wrong, so feel free to jump on the chat and call me out and say, hey, this is not how we work. Or like, we work a little bit differently, or like in this situation you would be dealing with X, Y, and Z. Please let me know. But again, I'm just sharing my experiences. So, per my experience, when it comes to agency recruiters, there's some sort of chain, or even for corporate recruiters, it can be also like some sort of chain. What I've noticed with agency recruiters, there is a person who will reach out to you and collect your data, and then they will reach out to another recruiter or account manager so account manager will look at your resume, and then they will schedule a call with you. Sometimes it is your person who initially initiated your contact with you and that account manager, or sometimes it's just your recruiter that you initiated contact with you, and they will just chat with you about your experience. Normally it's really friendly and really laid back. Before COVID, they would invite you to a lunch or grab a coffee, and of course they would pay for it. So I loved going out for lunches with different recruiters and network with them. But the main purpose of that networking session or the appointment is collect information about you and make sure that you meet basic qualifications for the client that they're hiring for. So this is what they do. This is what it's all about. And also see what other roles would be a perfect fit for you, or which other roles they can place you in. So this kind of how it works. With corporate recruiters, it's a little bit more simplified. They normally don't invite you for a cup of coffee, or they don't invite you for a Zoom, Skype meeting, just to get to know you. They will, if you are interested in you, or like if they like your qualifications, they will schedule an initial call, and then like again, they might send you over to the recruiter who is actually working on the role, and that recruiter will get in touch with the hiring manager, and hiring manager will make a decision if you are getting interview or not, or that person can reach out to the hiring manager directly. So like it goes like the chain can be a little bit smaller there. So you might working with the recruiter one-on-one. So there's no middle person. that recruiter who called you from a corporate is the same recruiter who will reach out to the hiring manager if there's no middleman in the middle in that process. So when it comes to agency recruiters, and there are also different types of agency recruiters. And like I said, as I mentioned before, that little chain, when a person, let's say recruiter reaches out to you and say, hey, I have a job for you. I have a client for you. Are you interested? That person may not be a recruiter. And that person may be like an assistant or like recruiting coordinator, or a person whose job is specifically call a bunch of people, gather a bunch of resumes, and send it over to a main recruiter who is working on the position, because it's a lot of work, it's tremendous effort, and the main recruiter, they will sort through the resumes and format or whatever, make them more presentable for a hiring manager, sometimes not, and they will get you in touch with the hiring manager. So again, different types of recruiters. Sometimes those people will just reach out to you because, again, their purpose is to gather your data. And they normally will send you a job description. So what you could do, you could modify your resume or tailor your resume to the job description, because you wanna skip that person in the middle as soon as you can to get to the main person who is actually will decide whether or not they will present you to the hiring manager. So your job is to get to the hiring manager. So whenever a recruiter sends you a job description, it's a good sign that you should take your time and tailor your resume to that job description that you've gotten. So, and as I mentioned at the beginning of my live stream, there are recruiters who would like to network with you, and they would like to get to know you better. They would like to have you in their database or pool of candidates that they can potentially reach out for a position. So it's a good sign, and you definitely should network with them. And there are recruiters who just get you data, and if your data doesn't match what they're looking for, they will just move on. So the first thing that you want to do is really manage your expectations with the recruiters. So unfortunately, ghosting is real. Recruiters ghost engineers all the time, and it's not okay. I think it is unprofessional. Personally, I do think it's unprofessional, but again, what you can do about it is just like have your expectations kind of low, and if that recruiter ghosts you, you don't have to work with them in the future. You can work with a different recruiter, or and when you figure out their style, like, okay, that recruiter will answer my emails only if that position is really hot, or if they really have good feedback from a manager. And if they don't, they just not going to answer anything. It's not a good feeling, but you have a choice. Like, do you want to continue with that recruiter or not? And again, a situation might be different. Situation also might be different. And that recruiter might be different in the different stages of their career. So maybe when they just gotten started, they were really new to the recruiting, and they didn't know how to network with you, and they could have been overwhelmed with like their jobs and the amount of clients and the amount of resumes they get, so they did get time to get back to you. But anyway, the decision is yours. You might continue to work with that recruiter or not. What I do personally, when it comes to agency recruiters, I prefer to work with the local recruiters, preferably from my state, preferably from my even city, because they know local market a little bit better. However, with the remote work, with COVID, situation has changed, and other recruiters from other states are reaching out to me, and I also network with them, because if there is a good remote position, I might as well take it. And if they know that client really well, it might be worth it to network with them as well. So and again, my personal preference, I prefer not to work with the recruiters, like with offshore recruiters, because per my experience, my resume is normally like maybe not getting lost, but I never get get the call back from the hiring manager. I've never get a schedule for an interview, or it never really goes too well for me. So that's why I decided to focus on, when I work with the recruiters, focus on local recruiters, because I'm just getting better results from that. And by local recruiters, I expand my network with the U.S. recruiters, because I live in the U.S. So, and if that recruiter is also works and based in the U.S., it's just easier for me, and I get, again, like I will repeat myself, I get better results when I work with the local recruiters. So, and we're talking about networking. We're not talking about just like how to get a job with the recruiter, because like you can recruiters need to fill the position, so they need to provide services. Like agency, they provide services, and it's not their job to find you a job. So you should do everything in your power to convince that recruiter that you are the most qualified candidate for that position, and they have to submit you to the client. And when you go in the interview, that like most likely you will get a job. So it kind of goes without saying, but networking is providing values. How can you provide value to a recruiter? So first of all, if a recruiter is new to the industry, or type of professionals that they're hiring, it really helps. And the feedback that I'm getting from the recruiters, it really helps when you try to explain to them what you're actually working with, what like the technology, what you do day to day, from day to day basis, from day to day, your day to day responsibilities. So it really helps, because majority of the time recruiters are non-technical, and they don't know how software developers work, or like what is Swift UI, and what is the difference between Swift UI and UIKit. And per my experience, when I explain to my recruiters like, hey, Swift UI is a new framework. It's just how we build UI, like user interface for mobile apps. UIKit does the same thing, but it's an older framework. Now it's a kind of older framework, and it's not as easy to use. So that's why a lot of people like Swift UI, something like that, or explain how mobile development works. They really appreciate that, or like whatever your technology that you're working with works. So they really appreciate that. And another thing that I do with the recruiters that I network really closely, and I have really good relationship, I refer other people to them. Yes, I know it's not my job to help them to do their job. So, but it's it's about providing value. I know at some point in my career I will be back to the situation or in a position when I'm looking for a job, and they might have that client that I'm interested in. And if we maintain that relationship, if we provide value to each other, even maintaining like good personal relationship also helps. So I know that recruiter is most likely be a little bit more responsive than other recruiters. So I have a few recruiters that I have a really good relationship with, and they're agency recruiters. And when I'm in a situation when I'm open again to a contract job and say, hey, I think I can think about getting a contract right now because I want to explore X, Y, and Z. So I will be cool with a contract or contract to hire. So these are agency recruiters. They're fun to network with. They're fun to work with. It can be annoying sometimes because, I just the nature of the job search, but I do like them. I do like networking with them. So let's talk about corporate recruiters. Corporate recruiters, again, it's a little bit different focus. They're working in the company. They might have a little bit closer, way closer relationship with the hiring manager and with the hiring team. So how can you network with them? In a similar way, it's about providing value. So it's not about like, yes, you want to get hired. Yes, you want to get in the company, but also you want to get to know that recruiter. And you may or may not get the job that like you interview with or for. So what you could do, you can also provide like first of all, if you didn't get a job, it's a good idea to thank them that like, hey, I really appreciate you working with me because they put a lot of effort and a lot of work getting you through the process. Yes, you didn't get a job. Yes, it sucks. Yes, you might have feelings about it, but your recruiter went through a lot of stuff to get you there, to get you through the process. Thank you, recruiter, that they were working with you. Say that you appreciate their work. And if you know someone, refer that person to that recruiter. Like, hey, I didn't get a job and I really wish you get the best candidate you possibly can for that job. So I know that person who might be a good candidate for this role. So this is all I can do. And you may check with them like on the, I don't know, like 6-month basis, or it kind of depends on the cool off period. So like if you, let's say you interview at Google, and Google has, at least what I know, Google has like 6 months cool off period. And if with that, after that a year cool off period, what you can do, you can provide good referrals to that recruiter. So it would be always appreciated, and your recruiter will know about you. Your corporate recruiter most likely not gonna reach out to you on the monthly basis or like 6 months basis. Like they will move on because they need to fill those roles as soon as possible. So you're done. It's just like they just don't have time for that. So don't expect them to behave in a similar manner as your agency recruiter. Your agency recruiter, they're always looking for people. They're always like, they need to have that pool of candidate. Your corporate recruiter situation is a little bit different. It could be a little bit better pool of candidates, and it's just the structure of the job is a little bit different, and they getting compensated a little bit differently. But how recruiters are getting compensated, it's the whole another topic that I'm not going to get into because I'm not a recruiter. It's like, it's pretty much he said, she said. I've never worked as a recruiter. I've never been compensated as a recruiter, so I'm not qualified to talk about how they being compensated. So, but with your corporate recruiter, you can provide references. You can definitely check with them especially if you want to work for that company. You can definitely check with them and say, hey, it's been a year since my last interview at your company, and I would like to try again. I would like to interview for your company again. Is it possible? And if it is possible, it is possible. If it is not possible, well, it's not possible. But you can maintain that like good relationship with your recruiter. And per my experience, it's a little bit easier to network and kind of maintain that like friendly, personal, interpersonal, or professional relationship with the agency recruiters, as long as they work for the agency and as long as they're in a position when they need to find candidates, rather than corporate recruiters. But again, situation might be different. So where to network with your recruiters? A good place would be LinkedIn. So again, like, you should have your optimized LinkedIn profile in place. Don't be unprofessional on LinkedIn. Don't post stupid stuff on LinkedIn or not related to your profession. So focus on your network. Focus on the professional network. So don't worry about what other people post there. It's not the place to post stuff on LinkedIn, in my personal opinion. And again, like, people in different positions, in different like roles, they have different functions. So maybe if it is appropriate for their position to post something on LinkedIn, it doesn't mean that you as a iOS developer can post the same kind of thing on LinkedIn. So like, just put that out there. So, but it's a good place to network with the recruiters. Another good place to network with the recruiters is Twitter. So I follow a couple of recruiters, or maybe more than a couple of the recruiters on LinkedIn, and it's just good to know how they. It's just good to know, follow the content, and just like kind of watch how they think and how they work. One a good resource for following would be Amy Miller Recruiting in Yoga Pants. Let me find her Twitter handle. Yeah, let me. I will just post a link on her profile. So if you want to know more about recruiting, her Twitter is an amazing place to start with the recruiting, and she has a YouTube channel as well. Let me see if I can find her YouTube channel right here. Amy Miller. Okay, here we go. So here we go. Here's her YouTube link. So definitely follow her. An amazing resource, and you can see other people she follows, also like really good recruiters, really good content. So, but yeah, this is pretty much it. So y'all, it's Sunday, it's 5 o'clock my time. I think I covered the basics, how to network with the recruiters, like kind of like sum it up. We have corporate recruiters, we have agency recruiters. With agency recruiters, I recommend you to work with local recruiters, because I just see a little bit better result. It's just my experience. Your experience might be different. I'm not saying that recruiters who are out of the state or work outside of the United States are bad or not professional. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I'm seeing different results. So just my personal preference. If a recruiter would like to network with you and say, hey, I would like to network with you, it's a good sign. You should network, provide value, refer other candidates, especially if you know that somebody is looking for a job and doesn't take anything from you, but like it establishes that good connection and good relationship with other people. Add other recruiters to your professional network, especially if they're like would like to add you to their professional network, and over time you will feel you will develop that sensor, like, okay, that recruiter is a good candidate to network, or oh no, that recruiter, like, it's not gonna add me any value, so like I don't have to add that recruiter to my professional network. So you will develop that like sense of like who you should network a little bit closer or not over time. It's hard to describe because behavior based assessment, or not assessment, but like they act the same. They send you a message, they send you a job description, and you know it's the same, but like over time you kind of you notice other like tendencies, like how people do their job. So corporate recruiters, the same kind of thing. It's okay to follow your recruiter or corporate recruiter on LinkedIn or on Twitter, and time to time, if that recruiter says yes, it's okay if you reach out to me time to time, or like if it's okay if you reach out to me after your cool off period. And the same kind of thing, provide value, refer other people, especially if you think that other person will be way more qualified than you are. Might as well. It's a good relationship. It's a good thing to do. So I hope you have a good Sunday. I'm going to go ahead and spend time with my family. You have an amazing Sunday and an amazing week. And I will see you in the next video or next live stream.